crazy numbers, lies about what's going on with Gaza. And, you know, we had the inflated numbers, how many people are killed in Gaza. It turns out those were lies. But once they're out there, you can't put them, I mean, they're out there. I think they released those numbers intentionally to humiliate and embarrass and win a propaganda war because people believe them. So then the UN comes out and says 144,000 people are going to die because of starvation. Then they said 14,000 babies are going to die because of starvation. And then they'll retract them, but the problem is it's out there. John, so this is an author. He comes out of the UK, Amjad Taha, and he says this, which I really appreciate. He actually brings truth into the conversation. And he says, I know you don't like logic. Since October 7, 2023, Gaza has received more than 300,000 metric tons of humanitarian aid delivered through over 22,000 trucks to a population of just 2.1 million. That translates to roughly 143 kilograms of aid per person in just a few months, assuming an average of 3,500 calories per kilogram of food, which is standard for calorie-dense emergency rations. This aid contains more than 1.05 trillion calories in total, with Gaza's population requiring approximately 4.2 billion calories per day based on 2,000 calorie a day diet. And then he goes on and says this aid alone could fully feed the entire population for over 250 consecutive days with 3 full meals a day, room for dessert. But differently, if the intake increased to 4 heavy meals per day, which far exceeds any humanitarian aid, it would be for 190 days. And then he goes on to compare to European cities, and he shows what he basically points out. This guy he's Arab, and he reports truth, and he's pointing out the absolute lies about, you know, we've seen the trucks just the other day lined up, ready to go into Gaza, but the lies are still out there. We know Hamas hijacks trucks, they take the food. I've even seen them kill people who are trying to get the aid. But these are facts, but we never hear the facts. John, you have a pretty good handle on what Israel is actually doing in Gaza and doing everything above and beyond. As you read these things, what do you think?
I think the specific things on Gaza are pretty incredible, the lies that get told. For example, the 14,000 dead babies in the next 2 days lie. I just did a search for that on my X feed, and I have hundreds of posts that I can get my hands on very easily that repeat this, and a few that refute it. And it's a total, complete lie. You know, and so I think, so the specifics are that we're getting lied to about Gaza. Look, I'm not denying that people are dying and people are suffering and everything, but I think, so that's the one lie about Gaza. And then it's sort of a bigger problem with disinformation coming at us from all different sorts. So let's look at the Gaza thing first. You know, the one thing that I've noted, I think you and I have talked about in the past, is that Syria population was about 23 million in 2011 when the Syrian civil war started. Today, it's somewhere in the range of 14 million. That's a 9 million change. By most estimates, 1 million civilians in Syria have died. When you go to Sudan, by most reasonable estimates, over the past year, 4 million have died. And I would just suggest to you that I've not seen, well, I can say without reservation, that there's not been a single protest about the dead in Syria. There's not been a single protest about the dead in Sudan. And we had friends who were missionaries in a country called the Central African Republic for many years, right in the heart of Central Africa. And by the way, this used to be considered the most evangelical, the country that had been the most evangelized on earth. It was, you know, roughly 4 or 5 million people, but it's completely been destroyed by Marxist revolutionaries, the Wagner Group, and all this other thing. A lot of people have died. Whole medical ministries that had been established and operating there for decades have been destroyed. There's no protest about any of that. And so it's the usual phrase really works in these cases: no Jews, no news. It's stunning to me. By the way, if you go, I would suggest everyone go to the UN population statistics and look at the UN population statistics. You're going to find a couple of stunning numbers. One is that despite the numbers killed in Gaza, the population of Gaza has increased since October 7th, 2023. Increased.
Yeah.
By quite a bit. And since October 20, and this shows you how distorted and wicked people are. I made this post. I said, you look at that, and they estimate that since October 27th, 2023 through the end of 2024, 50,000 babies had been born in Gaza. And when I posted that, you know what all these Jew haters did immediately? Oh man, the Israeli forces must really be doing a lot of rape.
Yeah, I unbelievable.